Hello, everyone. This is Charles F. Gray, aka Atari Charles, and I will be right back. And here I am again with the magic of technology. Yes, indeed. You can see my vast collection behind me, and there is more. It's not as vast as Darren Beedman's collection of VHS tapes, but I'm getting pretty close with the Blu-rays and the DVDs. Now, I was very lucky. A friend of mine gave me some more DVDs. I've gone through them. Some I'm keeping, some I'm giving away, basically. But there was some that I didn't have. And I like the movie enough that if it's free on DVD, I will take it. But of course, if it's on or if I have to buy it on Blu-ray or DVD, then I probably wouldn't, right? It's one of the in-between areas. But anyways, that is not what this is about. And one of these days, I will do a kind of really nice tour of my collection so far. But today is... well, what we're going to talk about is, of course, negative interest rates. Wow. And that's indeed true. Negative interest rates. And you folks might think, what the hell is Atari Charles talking about? What's Charles F. Gray talking about? What is the devil who whispers talking about? And it's negative interest rates. And negative interest rates will really screw you over good. And the banks are considering this. Both in Canada, where I'm at, and of course, you good folks in the United States. Now, I would like to say, I think I'm going to have to bring in some statistics here, so just give me 1 second. And 1 second, let's try that again. And I'm back, isn't that magical? So anyways, folks, let me shut this door. All right. Okay, so anyways, negative interest rates are going to really screw those of us who are actually smart, who actually save money. We actually hoard it away like dragons hoard gold and silver and jewels and magic items. And this is going to fuck us over if this happens. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And the negative interest rates, and these are the keys, of course. Well, actually, first, before I give you a key, I'll give you a definition. Negative interest rates occur when borrowers are credited interest rather than paying interest to lenders. While this is a very unusual scenario, it is most likely to occur during a deep economic recession when monetary policy and market forces have already pushed interest rates to their nominal zero bound. And what this means, folks, and these are the terrible things about negative interest rates, meaning... in short, and I'm going to give you some points here, when you have money in the bank pays you interest, don't they? But, with a negative interest rate, you pay the bank interest to store it in the bank. Can you frickin' believe that, right? And we're getting down to really sleazy low interest rates. And this is something I would consider the Bank of Canada would be sleazy enough to try. But we're going to see, folks. We're going to see. And I don't know if they're going to do it, but if they're going to do it, we need to find other places to store our money. So, negative interest rates occur when borrowers are credited interest rather than paying interest to lenders. So, if someone borrows money, they actually are credited interest. So they're not paying interest. It's like a bizarro world type of situation. With negative interest rates, banks charge you interest to keep cash with them rather than paying you interest. So imagine this. So instead of the bank paying you interest, paying you even a little bit of interest, maybe even paying you no interest, you are paying the bank interest to have your money there. Meanwhile, the bank has to use it to lend it out. Do you think that's fair, folks? And if your bank does this, dump them. Dump them, and find a better financial institution. And things may very well go online when it comes to all of this stuff, because the online banks probably, I could picture them not going into a negative interest rate, but actual brick and mortar banks could very well. All right. And okay. Negative interest rates might be seen during deflationary periods when people or institutions are inclined to hoard money rather than spend it or lend it. Well, isn't that interesting? We have a very shitty economic situation, folks, in Canada, in the U.S., and basically all over the world because of the COVID situation. And guess what? This is a perfect storm, basically. And people smart like me and smart like some of you who are hoarding money, the banks want you to spend it and be broker than Jungle Jim. You see, the government wants you to spend it and be broker than Jungle Jim to stimulate the economy. So they actually penalize you for saving money. Can you frickin' believe that? Negative interest rates are meant as an incentive for banks to make loans during a period in which they would rather hang on to funds. Well, the bank's going to make a loan and then they're going to pay the person getting the loan interest. Does that make any frickin' sense? And with negative interest rates, commercial banks are charged interest to keep cash within a nation's central bank rather than receiving interest. Theoretically, the dynamic should trickle down to the consumers and businesses, but commercial banks have been reluctant to pass negative rates on to customers. So banks will pay, basically, a nation's central bank to store money, and let's say they're getting a 2% interest rate, and then the bank says, okay, they're giving me a 2% interest rate. Hey, maybe I'll give you a 0.5 interest rate. Kind of like that. That's not an exact calculation. So the thing is, folks, this is really not a good thing, and there are countries already in the world that actually have a negative interest rate. Can you believe that? I'm going to name a couple for you if I can pull them up. Hold on 1 second. So let's talk about some nations that have negative interest rates because they just really want to kind of fuck over, their countrymen, basically. That's really what it comes down to. Switzerland, the Swiss National Bank reported an unchanged benchmark of a 3-month LIBOR of negative 0.75. So basically, you're storing your money in a Swiss bank. You are paying negative 0.7. You are basically paying 0.75% interest to keep your bank there. Well, that's really nice of them. Denmark. Oh, hello, you. How do you do? They as well. They're paying a negative 0.75, which means you are paying 0.75% interest to store your bank in a Denmark bank. Like, why would you do that? Oh boy, they really care about people. Or sorry, it's actually 0.60% now. My bad. Japan. The Bank of Japan reported an unchanged interest rate of negative 0.1%. So you are paying money to store, you are paying interest, you're paying money to store your money in their bank. Can you frickin' believe that? Sweden. Oh, yes. Here's Sweden. That's where the shaman is supposedly from. Now, Sweden actually has a 0% interest rate. You don't pay money to store it in the bank. They don't pay you interest to keep it in the bank. Well, better than paying money, but it really frickin' sucks. Hello. Here we go. Let's see here. Let's see a bench. And it used to be negative 0.25% interest in Sweden. Spain, they're really in a very bad financial situation. And basically Spain, oh goodness gracious, current rate for Spain is 0% interest. You don't pay interest, they don't pay you interest. Used to be basically 2019 was 0.68%. Can you imagine? And there's other countries. So the thing is, basically in Canada and the United States, folks, guess what? Are the banks going to be sleazy? Are they going to be sleazy? Especially in Canada, the big 5 banks. RBC, CIBC, Scotiabank, TD Bank, and there's another one. Anyways, are they going to be sleazy and they're going to be greedy and they're going to be like Bank of Canada is going to lower the interest rate again and they're going to be like, actually, we have to charge you money to keep your money in here. Holy shit. But I think with the virtual banks, because they can normally pay a higher interest rate because they don't have the higher overhead, that may be the direction that we're going to be going, folks. That may be very well the direction that we're going to be going. And in the United States, there's numerous banks. But I'm sure there are some banks that are totally online and some banks that are brick and mortar locations. Obviously, we know that basically the brick and mortar locations have a higher overhead. And guess what? if there's a negative, they're more likely to go to a negative interest rate than basically a online bank. Now, people are going to say, well, you should invest in cryptocurrency, or you should invest in gold and silver and stuff like this. And these are all things that you should look at and consider, basically. But the point of this video is basically, if you want to keep your money in currency, U.S. currency, Canadian currency, wherever you're at, basically. And if you're in a country where basically they have the negative interest rates, well, man, oh man, I think you got to store your money somewhere else. If you can get an account in a foreign country, a safe foreign country, obviously, you might want to do that. Because why are you paying the bank to store your money? Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? So this is what's coming up, folks. This is what potentially is coming up around the bend. Negative interest rates. Don't get caught. It's going down, folks. It keeps on going down. The big shot in the Bank of Canada. He's a big shot. And he basically says it's not out of the question about negative interest rates, folks. And it's more than likely going to happen in Canada, which is kind of a semi-socialist country, rather than in the United States, which is generally a capitalist free market country. This is my opinion, folks. Keep an eye out on that, folks, and look at other options. If your bank is suddenly getting greedy and they want to charge you that negative interest rate, and they want to, when they're lending people out money and they're paying them interest to lend them money, and you're in the bizarro world, then you may have to look at other options. Like I said, diversification of your wealth is a main thing, very big thing. And of course, basically, when it comes to saving your wealth, you want to diversify that as well. And of course, income and so all this type of stuff. Numerous income streams, numerous types of currencies, so on and so forth. And you know what? If you're good old-fashioned bank, they just wanna just kind of rip you off and charge you that negative interest rate, then you got to look at the online banks that are more competitive. Because online banks, because they still have offices and that, but because they don't actually have brick and mortar locations with tellers and so on and so forth, they don't have that stuff. Because of that, basically, they can offer a better interest rate. So even though the brick and mortar banks say, hey, we're going to charge you a negative interest rate, maybe these online banks can still give you a nominal interest rate in your benefit, right? Anyways, Charles F. Gray, Atari Charles over and out. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. And a Sandman would say, and cheers. See you later. Take care. And if you want to hire my services, make a video on a topic of your choice, or you want to sponsor the channel, or you just want to just say, hey, I like your stuff. Here's some moolah. Well, my email is in the About section via the link. And email me, and I will let you know how you can basically, through the magic of technology, electronically send me the funds. Take care. And the Sandman would say, and cheers. And he already said that. Take care. See ya.